What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. We have almost come to the end of this month, which means it's time for us to check out another episode of top 10 newly released free-to-play games that you can play right now on the month of May. All these games that I'm going to mention in this video are completely free-to-play and available to download right now on Steam. Honestly, we got a pretty decent collection of free games available on this month, so sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. Alright guys, at number 10 spot we got a pretty cool looking arcade style racing game called ISO Racer, which is a free-to-play multiplayer top-down style racing game which focuses heavily on the realistic physics and drifting. In the current build of this game, we got decent collection of vehicles and racing tracks to try out, and also there's a separate garage you can customize your vehicles, and especially a really fun game to play with your friends. But nevertheless, the game also supports AI, which means you can play the whole game as a single player against AIs. The game is still pretty new on Steam, currently only having close to 90 reviews, and most of them are sitting at mostly positive. And also the system requirements are not that heavy, you can basically play this game even with the integrated graphics. Alright, next up we got a pretty underrated action adventure game called Apodic Descent. It's a free-to-play underwater action adventure slash horror type of a game where you play as a diver whose submarine crashed into the bottom of the ocean, and you have to find the underwater research facility in order to survive from this deep sea and also from these terrifying sea creatures. It's a pretty challenging single player game where you have to face against a lot of sea predators and different enemies, and also along the way you have to solve a lot of puzzles which involve with the storyline. It's also a pretty new game on Steam, having only around 30 reviews, and most of them are mostly positive. System requirements are also not that heavy, pretty acceptable in 2023. Moving on, we got another free-to-play action RPG game called Torchlight Infinite. It's more of a top-down style hack and slash type of a game with a lot of focus on the fast-paced combat and the heroes with unique abilities. You guys know this type of hack and slash type of games are definitely not my cup of tea, but nevertheless the game is pretty popular right now on Steam, having around 7,500 reviews, and most of them are sitting at mixed category, and also the system requirements are not that heavy, so especially if you're into these type of action RPG games, it's definitely a fun game to try out. Alright, next up we got a very unique sci-fi game that just released into the Steam and getting a lot more popular right now, and that is the Pixel Starship. It's a free-to-play strategy slash simulation type of a game where you have to command all the aspects and also manage your starship in a massive online universe. You have to do a lot of exploration and discover different planets, different races, aliens and factions. There are tons of things to do in this game, no doubt. But on top of all that, I absolutely love the pixelated graphic style of this game. Right now the game is having close to 1800 reviews, and most of them are sitting at mostly positive, and also the system requirements are pretty low specs friendly. Next up we got a brand new game for those who like to play puzzle platformer type of games, and this game is called Shutter. It's a free-to-play third-person puzzle platformer adventure type of a game where you play as a new employee that just came into this mysterious research facility, and your main objective is to make your way through the last floor of the research center, and along the way you will have to do a lot of puzzle solving and also a lot of exploring. It's a pretty challenging single player game, and currently the game is only having like 30 reviews, and most of them are sitting at positive, but the system requirements are somewhat higher compared to most of the other games in today's list. So guys, before moving on to the number 5, if you enjoyed the video so far, please make sure to drop a like and also subscribe because we cover a lot of free-to-play games like this. So yeah, drop a like and a sub, much appreciated. Alright guys, at number 5 spot we got Magic the Gathering Arena, and obviously this is not a new game. I believe this was only available previously on Epic Games Store, but the game is finally available right now on Steam, and it is completely free to play as well. It's a strategy based card game where you have to collect, build and trade cards and ultimately build your unique deck. With multiplayer available, you can challenge your friends and the players all around the world and test your skill, and the game also supports cross-platform as well. The game is still pretty new to Steam, having only around 350 reviews, and most of them are mostly positive, and also you don't have to worry about system requirements. The game is basically playable on any low-end PC or laptop. Alright guys, next up we got a pretty well-known game, especially if you are a regular viewer of my channel, because I mentioned this game multiple times in my previous videos as well, and that is the Retail Royale. Yes, the game finally came out as an early access title, and now it's a fully released game on Steam. And as you guys know, it's a free-to-play battle royale game where you have to fight inside a furniture store where pretty much everything you pick up is a weapon, and it's absolutely chaotic and super fun to play. It's a 16-player battle royale game which heavily focuses on the melee combat, and of of course your ultimate goal is to try to be the last man standing inside the furniture store. Right now the game is having around 3,700 plus reviews on Steam, and most of them are sitting at mostly positive, which is really good to see. System requirements are also pretty acceptable in 2023, so definitely give it a try, especially if you're looking for a fun, unique battle royale game. Alright, next up we got a very unique extreme sport type of a game called Jet Rivals. Honestly guys, these type of games are very hard to come by these days, especially as a free-to-play title. But anyway, it's a super fun arcade style extreme sport type of a game which includes a lot of racing, flying and also vehicle destruction. It's an online multiplayer game where you play against 18 other players and you have to take part in this over-the-top high-octane winner take all type of a tournament, and ultimate goal is to try to be the winner. Right now the game is having around only 200 reviews on Steam, and most of them are sitting at mixed category. System requirements are also somewhat higher compared to most of the other games available on today's list, but nevertheless it's a super fun game. You should definitely try it out. Alright, next up we got one of the most popular games to release recently, and that is the Omega Strikers, which is something that I mentioned in my previous videos as well. It's a free-to-play, fast-paced 3v3 sports game where your objective is to try to score as many goals as you can before the time run out. The game is also filled with casual and fun game modes, and also there is a dedicated rank mode as well. It's especially a great game, especially if you want to play with your friends. The game is right now very popular on Steam, having around 8,000 daily concurrent players, and right now the game is having more than 16,000 plus reviews on Steam, and most of them are sitting at very positive, which is really good to see. System requirements are also not that heavy, pretty acceptable in 2023. Alright, moving on, at number 1 spot we got Veiled Expert, and I previously made a completely dedicated review for this game, so definitely go ahead and check out my previous video. But nevertheless, it's a free-to-play multiplayer tactical third-person shooter which is similar to a game like Raw Company with some unique and interesting gameplay elements as well. It's primarily a 5v5 round-based shooter similar to a game like Valorant, but the game also got some casual game modes alongside a dedicated rank mode. It's definitely a fun game to try out, especially if you're into these type of third-person shooters. Currently the game is having close to 2,000 reviews on Steam, most of them are sitting at mixed category. System requirements are also pretty acceptable in 2023. You need to have a quad-core processor with 8 gigs of RAM and a GTX 960 as minimum requirements. Well, that's pretty much wrap up the video guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and also found some great new free-to-play games to try out, especially if you have a free time. As always guys, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to drop a like and also subscribe because we cover a lot of free-to-play games on this channel. I catch you guys soon in my next video. Stay safe.